All right, let's jump into this. Color theory. When I saw this request come in, I was like, really? Color theory? But then I started thinking about it, and you know what? I kind of got excited. I mean, it's something we see every day, but how much do we actually know about it?
It's one of those things you don't realize how much you don't know until you start digging into it.
Totally. So for this deep dive, we're going to be looking at a YouTube video by artist Gema Vadillo. She's super talented. And what's cool is that she works with both traditional and digital art. So this stuff applies across the board.
Exactly. Whether you're a painter, a graphic designer, a photographer, understanding color is essential.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. Vadillo starts off by talking about CMYK and RGB, which, I'll be honest, are terms that always kind of make my eyes glaze over. Can you break those down for us, like in plain English?
Sure. It's basically about understanding the difference between how colors work in print versus on screens. CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, black. And it's the system used for printing.
Okay. So like when you're actually putting ink on paper?
Yeah, exactly. Think of it like this. You start with a white canvas and then add layers of ink, which actually subtract light to create the image.
Oh, so it's kind of like reverse thinking. You're adding ink, but it's about what light gets taken away.
Precisely. That's why it's called subtractive color. Now flip that around for screens. That's where RGB comes in. Red, green, blue. Here we start with black and build up color by adding light.
Oh, okay. That's why my photos never look as bright when I print them. It's like the colors lose something in translation.
Exactly. And Vadillo actually jokes about how CMYK gives you the ick because trying to match those vibrant screen colors in print can be a real challenge.
Yeah. I've had some printing disasters in my time. So CMYK for print, RGB for screens.
Got it.
But what about the actual colors themselves? Like Vadillo talks a lot about primary colors. Does that change depending on if you're working with CMYK or RGB?
The exact shades might shift a bit, but the basic concept remains the same. Primaries are those colors you can't create by mixing other colors together. They're the foundation.
So like the OG colors.
Exactly. And in the video, Vadillo focuses on cyan, magenta, and yellow as the primary colors for CMYK.
Right. And she's a big fan of starting with a limited palette, like just those 3 high-quality primaries.
Absolutely. She's all about mastering the basics. Her point is, you can get so much mileage out of just those 3 colors, mix them together, and you create secondary colors. For instance, cyan and magenta make violet.
Oh, right. And then you can mix those secondary colors to make even more colors.
Exactly. Tertiary colors. And then you can start playing with value and saturation. It's like the possibilities just explode.
So it's like by understanding how these few basic colors interact, you unlock this whole spectrum of possibilities. That's pretty cool.
It really is.
Yeah.
And whether you're working with physical paint or digital tools, that understanding of primary color relationships is like color theory 101.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got our primaries, secondaries, tertiaries. Where do complementary colors fit into all of this? Vadillo mentions they're not just for mixing grays, which honestly was kind of how I always thought of them.
Right. Most people think of complementaries as just, for neutralizing colors. But they have so much more to offer.
Yeah, like what? Fill us in.
Well, first off, let's define them. Complementary colors are those pairs that sit opposite each other on the color wheel.
Like blue and orange.
Exactly. And one of the coolest things about complementaries is how they play off each other visually.
Yeah. She gave that example about shading yellow with its complement purple instead of using black. The shadows look so much more alive.
Exactly. It adds so much depth and dimension, but you're not just, darkening the color, you're shading with color, which keeps things vibrant. And speaking of vibrancy, remember how Vadillo mentioned how complementaries are used in movie posters, even Star Wars?
Oh, yeah. And she specifically talked about how they make things pop, right?
Right. Think about Luke's blue lightsaber against those dark, often orange-ish backgrounds in the Star Wars posters.
Contrast. Yeah, I see it now.
And that's what complementaries do. They create this visual tension that draws your eye and highlights key elements.
Okay, I'm officially looking at everything differently now. It's like, I just got handed this secret decoder ring to the visual world. Mind blown.
It's a whole new way of seeing, for sure. But before we get too carried away with complementaries, let's not forget about a couple of other color schemes Vadillo mentioned. Analogous and monochromatic. Have you heard of those?
Yeah, kinda. Analogous is when you use colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, right?
Bingo. Think of like blues and greens used together. It creates a sense of harmony and flow.
Okay, that makes sense. But monochromatic,
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that just using one color? How exciting can that be?
You'd be surprised. It can be super powerful when done right. Imagine a film bathed almost entirely in shades of green.
Wait a minute, are you going to mention The Green Knight? I was hoping you would.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking of. That film is a masterclass in using a monochromatic green palette to build this incredible atmosphere and visual storytelling.
Wow, okay. I need to see that. The Green Knight, officially added to the watch list. Monochromatic magic, who knew? But are there other, like, specific color combinations that artists and designers use a lot? Like, are there color cheat codes out there?
There are definitely some classic go-to combinations. Vadillo talks about triadic schemes, which is where you use 3 colors that are equally spaced on the color wheel.
I have a red, yellow, and blue.
Exactly. That classic trio you see in, like, a lot of animation. It's a super energetic and visually striking combo.
Yeah. Those 3 always just seem to work together.
They do. It's a tried and true formula. And then you've got tetradic schemes, which use 4 colors that form a rectangle or square on the color wheel. These rules, and I use that term loosely.
Right, they're more like guidelines.
Exactly. They're more like helpful starting points for creating balanced and dynamic compositions.
So it's not so much about following strict rules, but understanding how colors relate to each other and then using that knowledge to create what you want.
That's it. It's like learning the notes on a musical scale. Once you understand the relationships, you can compose your own masterpiece. But the real magic happens when you combine these technical ideas with the emotional impact of color.
Whoa, hold on. Are you telling me that just by choosing certain colors, you can actually make people feel things? Tell me more.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole field, actually, called color psychology, and it looks at how colors can influence our moods, our behaviors, even, yeah, like you said, our purchasing decisions.
Right. So there's a reason why all those fast food logos are red and yellow. It all makes sense now.
Right. I mean, think about it. Red, it makes you think of excitement, energy, even a little bit of danger, maybe, urgency. Right.
Yeah.
And then you've got yellow, which is all about happiness and optimism. It's like the perfect recipe to make you crave those fries.
They're playing us. It's all a mind game. But I guess knowing this stuff, I mean, it can help us be more aware of how we're being manipulated, right?
Exactly. It's like having a superpower, You can see through the marketing tricks and make more conscious choices.
Okay, but it's not all about manipulation, right?
Yeah.
Like understanding color psychology. We can actually use this knowledge in our own lives too, yeah.
Absolutely. Think about how you decorate your home, for example, or what colors you might wear to a job interview, or even the colors you use in presentations at work.
Whoa. I'm having a fashion crisis now. I need to go reevaluate my entire wardrobe. But okay, back to those Star Wars posters for a sec. I'm suddenly really curious about the colors in those.
Well, let's take the A New Hope poster, the classic one. You've got Luke Skywalker, right? He's in his white outfit, which symbolizes the hero, the light side of the Force. And he's set against this, predominantly black background, which represents the dark side, the Empire.
Light versus dark, good versus evil. Yeah, I see it. And then there are the lightsabers. Blue versus red.
Exactly. Classic complementary colors, blue and orange. And that visual tension they create, it mirrors the central conflict of the story. It's so simple, but so effective.
I need to rewatch all the Star Wars movies now with my new color-aware eyes. I've been missing out.
Huh. Yeah, it's like seeing things for the first time, isn't it?
Totally. And it's not just movies, right? This color stuff.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
You got it. It's like we've been speaking this language all along, but we just never realized it.
Whoa, color as a language. Okay, that's a new one for me. But it kind of makes sense, right?
It does. I mean, it has its own, grammar, vocabulary, all of that. And once you understand it, well, then you can start to read the messages that colors are conveying, whether it's in a painting, a movie poster, a product ad.
Even in nature. Like when Vadillo talked about the role color plays in the natural world.
Yeah, she mentioned how, flowers use bright colors to attract pollinators, and some animals use camouflage to blend in with their surroundings.
Ranger's a sneaky one.
Right. It's amazing how color is involved in all of these, essential life processes,
Right.
not just for us humans, but for, all of life on Earth. And it makes you wonder, why do we see these colors the way we do? Why do we have certain emotional responses to different colors? Is it learned? Is it biological? It's like color is this bridge between the physical world and how we experience it.
Exactly. It's a bridge built on biology and culture.
Yeah.
Like both nature and nurture. It's fascinating.
My mind is officially blown. I'm never going to look at color the same way again.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
But, we've really only scratched the surface here. There's so much more to explore when it comes to color theory.
Yeah, we're just getting started. So where do we go from here? Like, what other color concepts are lurking out there, waiting to be discovered? I'm still thinking about color as that bridge between, like, what's out there and how we see it. It's crazy. But yeah, you're right. We've only just, like, dipped our toes in the color ocean. What else is there to discover?
Well, we could go deeper into color psychology for sure. I mean, it's fascinating how colors can actually influence our moods, our behaviors, even our decisions, like we were saying.
Oh, so that's why fast food logos are always red and yellow. It's like a subliminal message to buy more fries. Exactly. Those colors, they're chosen for a reason. Red, it gets your attention, makes you feel a little excited, maybe even a little impulsive. And then yellow, that's all about happiness, optimism. It's like the perfect recipe to make you, open up your wallet.
Wow. It's kind of sneaky when you think about it. But I guess, like you said before, knowing how these colors can be used to, influence us, it makes us more aware.
Yeah.
More conscious consumers.
Exactly. It's like once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking at advertising differently now. But hey, on a more positive note, we can use this knowledge to our advantage too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about how you decorate your home, for example. What colors you might wear to a job interview. Or even the colors you use in presentations at work. It can make a big difference.
This is making me rethink my entire life. But you know what I'm curious about? How our understanding of color has changed over time. I mean, think about it. Avocado green appliances. Those were all the rage in the 70s, but now, ew, no one wants those.
It's funny how trends come and go, right? But yeah, you're right. The meaning and use of color, it's constantly evolving. Technology, cultural trends, even politics, they all play a role. Like for centuries, purple was associated with royalty and luxury because the dye was so expensive to make.
So it's not just about the color itself, but also its historical context. It's like every color has a story to tell.
It really does. And learning those stories, well, it adds this whole other level to how we appreciate art, design, even the everyday objects around us,
I feel like we could talk about color forever. There's just so much to it.
There really is. It's such a vast and complex subject, but that's what makes it so fascinating.
This deep dive has been a total eye-opener. Any last words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap things up?
I would just encourage everyone to, keep their eyes open, really see the colors around them, pay attention to the subtle hues in a sunset, or the bold choices in a movie poster, or even the color combinations your friend might be wearing. Once you start really paying attention, it's amazing what you'll notice.
Such great advice. And for anyone who wants to, dive even deeper, definitely check out Gema Vadillo's YouTube channel. She's amazing. She explains things so well. And hey, if this deep dive sparks some creative fire in you, we'd love to see what you come up with. Share your colorful creations with us on social media using #TheDeepDive.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those colors vibrant.
And that's a wrap on our color theory journey. It's been a colorful ride for sure. We'll catch you on the next deep dive where we'll be tackling a whole new topic. Until then, stay curious.